Welcome to the Humanized Books channel, when we will bring you mini books based on summaries of other books, preserving their essence but expressed through other perspectives. Today, mini book, The Mature Mind, Ancient Wisdom, inspired from Marcus Aurelius, Meditations. This mini book focused on one of the most important themes from modern life: maturity. Not maturity as age, but maturity as inner strength, emotional clarity, responsibility, self-loyalty, and conscious living. Let's focus on what comes next. Plug in your headphones and let's get started. Introduction. In this guide, we explore how Marcus built his inner citadel, what emotional self-control truly looks like, why duty and discipline create a meaningful life, the art of boundaries and compassion in relationships, how to accept fate without losing personal agency, what it means to live as a fully developed human. Who was Marcus Aurelius? Marcus Aurelius was a Roman emperor, philosopher, and one of history's most respected thinkers. Born in 121 in the Common Era, he rose to power during one of Rome's most challenging eras, ruling from 161 to 180 Common Era. Despite leading a vast empire and carrying enormous responsibility, Marcus is remembered not for his conquests, but for his character. He practiced Stoicism, a philosophy centered on self-control, wisdom, and inner strength. During his reign, he faced wars, political pressure, betrayal, and personal loss. Yet he remained calm, disciplined, and guided by reason. What makes Marcus truly remarkable is that his most powerful work, Meditations, was never meant to be published. It was his private journal, a place where he wrote honest reminders to himself about how to think and act with integrity. Through these writings, he teaches us that real strength comes from mastering the self, not dominating others. He shows that maturity is choosing clarity over chaos, purpose over impulse, and virtue over ego. Marcus Aurelius became a symbol of what it means to lead a principled life, proving that even in moments of pressure and uncertainty, a person can remain thoughtful, grounded, and loyal to their highest values. Next, we will move on to our guide consisting of 6 chapters. Chapter 1. The Inner Citadel. Marcus Aurelius believed that a mature human being is someone who understands where true power lives, within the mind. He often describes his inner strength as a kind of personal fortress, an inner citadel, a space that cannot be touched by chaos, cruelty, or misfortune unless we invite them inside. Throughout Meditations, he reminds himself that the world is unpredictable, people are flawed, and life frequently goes against our plans. Yet, he also insists that none of this can harm the core of who we are unless we let it. Maturity, for Marcus, begins with the realization that the only thing fully in your control is your own mind. This does not mean withdrawing from life. It means understanding that external events do not define your character. Your reactions do. Marcus repeatedly writes about not letting anger, envy, fear, or resentment dictate your actions. He saw these emotions as storms hitting the walls of the citadel, loud, forceful, and distracting, but ultimately powerless to destroy what is solid inside you. A mature person recognizes, people will behave however they want. I cannot let their actions decide my peace. Circumstances may be difficult, but difficulty cannot define me unless I surrender my judgment. The world is chaotic, but I can remain calm in my thoughts and deliberate in my choices. This is not coldness. It is strength. Marcus believed that maturity is the art of protecting your inner life from unnecessary disturbance, not by ignoring the world, but by refusing to let the world dictate the quality of your mind. He knew that life brings setbacks, losses, and frustrations, but he also knew that a developed human responds with clarity instead of collapse. The inner citadel is the foundation of everything else: emotional balance, discipline, compassion, and wisdom. Without this stable inner ground, your life becomes reactive and chaotic. With it, you become someone who moves through the world with grounded confidence, unshaken by turbulence. To Marcus, the mature soul is not unfeeling, it is unbreakable. Chapter 2. Emotional Self-Control. Marcus Aurelius never pretends that emotions are easy to manage. He felt frustration, grief, anger, and disappointment, just as any human does. What makes him a model of maturity is the way he evaluates and redirects these emotions. He believed that emotional maturity begins with recognizing that emotions are natural, but they are not rulers. They are impulses, not commands. A mature person feels deeply, but chooses wisely. In meditations, Marcus often catches himself slipping into irritation or fear. Instead of pretending he's above it, he writes directly to himself, reminding his mind of what really matters. Is this worth losing my temper over? Is this reaction helping me live according to my values? Is this moment truly as big as it feels, or is my mind exaggerating it? He continually returns to the practice of pausing before reacting. That pause is where maturity lives. A mature person knows that harsh words spoken in anger rarely reflect truth. Decisions fueled by fear lead to regret, envy, and comparison. Poison the soul. Resentment drains energy from meaningful action. Marcus teaches us to ask, what part of this situation is in my control? When the answer is my response, that is where maturity grows. He also emphasizes compassion toward one's own emotional struggles. He reminds himself repeatedly that humans make mistakes, including himself. Emotional maturity is not perfection. It is the ability to recover quickly, forgive yourself for slipping, and return to a better path. One of Marcus's strongest marks of maturity is how he interprets other people's behavior. Instead of taking offense, he reframes their actions. Maybe they are ignorant. Maybe they are suffering. Maybe they do not see their own faults clearly, just as we often fail to see ours. This perspective softens emotional reactions. It shifts the focus from blame to understanding. For Marcus, emotional self-control is not suppression. It is the art of channeling emotion into clear thought and ethical action, remaining loyal to your best self even when your worst impulses try to pull you away. Chapter 3. Duty, Discipline, and Grace. To Marcus Aurelius, maturity is not only an inner condition, it is how you show up in the world. He believed that every person has a duty to contribute meaningfully, to act with integrity, and to play their part in the greater harmony of life. As emperor, his duty was enormous, yet he constantly reminded himself to approach it with humility rather than ego. He warns himself against complaining, procrastinating, or seeking praise. His discipline comes from understanding that life is short and that wasting time is a form of self-betrayal. A mature human, in Marcus's eyes, does the following. 1. Does what must be done, even when it's uncomfortable. He writes that avoiding responsibility weakens the character. Discipline is not punishment. It is the maintenance of personal dignity. 2. Acts with grace and calm under pressure. Marcus faced war, political turmoil, illness, and betrayal. Yet he tried to respond with clarity rather than panic. He teaches that panic is what happens when someone hasn't anchored themselves in purpose. Discipline keeps the mind from scattering under pressure. 3. Performs good actions without needing recognition. He believed that good deeds should be like the sun, giving light, natural, effortless, and without demanding applause. A mature soul helps others because it is right, not because it boosts their image. 4. Lives by principles, not impulses. Marcus constantly returns to his core values: reason, justice, courage, self-control. He uses them as checkpoints for his choices. When tempted by comfort, anger, or laziness, he asks, does this align with the person I am committed to becoming? 5. Approaches mistakes with humility. Even as emperor, he was deeply aware of his own flaws. He believed that maturity means correcting yourself quickly, learning continuously, and refusing to hide behind pride. Duty, for Marcus, is not about heavy responsibility. It is about meaning. A mature person does not drift. They commit to living consciously, acting with purpose, and carrying themselves with quiet dignity. Chapter 4. Relationships and Boundaries. Marcus Aurelius' views on relationships are some of the most mature and psychologically insightful in ancient philosophy. He understood that humans are social beings. We need each other. But he also recognized that healthy connection requires boundaries, realism, and inner stability. Marcus constantly reminds himself that people will behave imperfectly. They will be selfish, rude, dishonest, or careless. Instead of resenting this, he encourages accepting it as part of human nature. Maturity means responding with understanding rather than outrage. Yet acceptance does not mean allowing yourself to be mistreated. Marcus believed in realistic expectations. He advises not to expect perfection from others. Unrealistic expectations create disappointment. A mature person approaches relationships with compassion and clarity, protecting your inner peace. Even while engaging with others, Marcus insists that your mind must remain your own. He warns against letting other people's anger or negativity infect you. Boundaries, for Marcus, are not walls. They are filters that protect the mind, acting justly even when others do not. One of his strongest ideas, the wrongdoing of another is no excuse for your own. Maturity shows in how you hold your values even when others abandon theirs. Not living to please others at the expense of your soul. Marcus believed that seeking approval is a trap. He reminds himself that death will erase all opinions, so why live for them? Loyalty to yourself, in his view, is not selfish. It is the foundation for authentic living. Serving others without losing yourself. The Stoic ideal is to help humanity, but not to dissolve your identity in the process. Marcus teaches that real maturity knows when to give, when to retreat, and when to protect your own mental state. He believed that relationships flourish when each person is rooted in self-awareness, not dependency. In this way, Marcus Aurelius captures a timeless truth. A mature soul loves others without clinging, helps others without draining itself, and stands firm without becoming rigid. Chapter 5. Accepting Fate While Shaping Character. One of the deepest themes in Meditations is how Marcus Aurelius balances acceptance with agency. A mature person, he believes, accepts what they cannot control while taking responsibility for everything they can. This balance is at the heart of Stoic maturity. Accept the world as it is, not as you wish it were. Marcus repeatedly reminds himself that life is filled with loss, change, and unpredictability. Maturity means releasing the fantasy that life should be easier. You gain strength by adapting. Control your choices, not external events. Even when fate delivers hardship, your character remains your own project. Marcus believed that adversity is the training ground of the mature soul. Every obstacle is a chance to practice patience, courage, or resilience. View setbacks as part of nature's design. He often writes about seeing events as neither good nor bad. It's your judgment that labels them. A mature person asks, "How can I use this moment?" instead of, "Why did this happen to me?" Let go of attachment to outcomes. Marcus was an emperor, yet he constantly warned himself not to cling to success or fear failure. Both are temporary. Maturity comes from focusing on effort, not reward. Transform suffering into wisdom. Marcus doesn't romanticize suffering, but he treats it as a teacher. When confronted with pain, he looks inward for what can be learned. This transforms hardship from meaningless suffering into conscious growth. When acceptance combines with responsibility, you become someone capable of navigating life with grace. You stop waging war against reality and start cultivating strength within it. In Marcus's worldview, maturity means understanding that you cannot control fate, but you can always shape your character. Chapter 6. Living as a fully developed human. The culmination of Marcus Aurelius' philosophy is the idea of becoming a complete human being, someone who lives with integrity, clarity, courage, and compassion. This is not about perfection, it is about honest development. A fully developed human, in Marcus's view, demonstrates 1. Inner loyalty to oneself. Marcus insists that you should never betray your values to please others. This kind of self-loyalty is not selfishness, it is maturity. When you honor your principles, you contribute your best to the world. 2. Consistency between thoughts, words, and actions. Hypocrisy fractures the soul. Marcus urges congruence, to think clearly, speak truthfully, and act honorably. 3. Simplicity and humility. He warns that ego pulls people away from wisdom. A mature person keeps their desires modest, their intentions sincere, and their lifestyle uncomplicated. 4. The courage to face reality. Marcus believed that illusions destroy strength, seeing things as they are. Your flaws, your mortality, your responsibilities is the hallmark of a mature mind. 5. Compassion toward others. Even when others behave poorly, he encourages patience and understanding. Everyone is struggling internally. Maturity softens harsh judgment without abandoning standards. 6. Purposeful living. Marcus urges himself not to waste time, because maturity recognizes how little time we truly have. A fully developed human uses their days well through meaningful work, presence, and conscious choices. 7. Harmony with nature and reason. To live maturely is to live in alignment with nature, accepting cycles, embracing impermanence, and making decisions guided by reason rather than impulse. Final ideas. Marcus Aurelius shows that maturity is not an age, it is a discipline. It is the daily commitment to guard your inner world, regulate your emotions, perform your duties with grace, maintain healthy boundaries, accept life without surrendering agency, and live with integrity. A mature person is not fearless. They are self-possessed, not perfect, but intentional, not detached, but wise. Marcus teaches that the most important loyalty in life is to your best self. And from that loyalty, everything else grows. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy our summary based on inspiration to do something great in our life. I look forward to see you in next mini books. Don't forget to subscribe and like. This helps us reach more people, and comments are always welcome. All the best.